CBS 6 News starts now.
New information tonight on a tragic car crash that left 2 people dead in Clifton Park. The charges one man is now facing and why police say he was unfit to drive. Plus, police investigating a hit and run after a car slams into a house in Schenectady.
It flipped and ended here.
We hear from a girl who says she's lucky to be alive. And the Muslim community comes together to support victims of a devastating fire that left dozens without a home. We'll tell you how you can help. Good evening, I'm Emily DeFisciani. We begin tonight with breaking news in the town of Hoosick, where authorities confirm they're responding to an auto pedestrian accident. We're told 2 pedestrians are hurt and helicopters have been deployed. Authorities say it happened on Route 7 near the Big Moose Country and Deli. We will continue to follow this breaking story tonight. We are also continuing to follow developing news in Clifton Park. State police say one of the drivers involved in yesterday's fatal crash was drunk. Dickie Wynn of Cohoes is now charged with aggravated vehicular homicide, 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter, and driving while intoxicated. Police say he had a BAC of .16. 2 people died in that accident. They have been identified as 33-year-old John Hennigan and 32-year-old Caitlin Holtzman, both from New York City. 3 others were seriously hurt. All of the victims were in the same car. The crash happened near a local church. We heard from a pastor today who said it was near the time of Mass.
It's incredibly unfortunate. We had Mass that began at 4 o'clock and had no information at the beginning of Mass, but the whole church stood and prayed before Mass started, not only for anyone who may have been injured, but also for those who may have died. And also, especially on a weekend like this, for all the people who work so hard to keep us safe on the roads.
Wynn was arraigned today and is being held in Saratoga County Jail without bail. He's due back in court on May 29th. 2 people are dead after a tornado near Oklahoma City destroyed a motel and tore through a mobile home park late last night. At least 29 others are hurt. According to the National Weather Service, the tornado was an EF3. That means winds of up to 165 miles an hour. Survivors described the destruction in the town of El Reno, which is about 25 miles west of Oklahoma City.
Looked out straight out the window, which was busted, and saw my neighbor's trailer rolling over.
When we got up, the whole house was overturned.
We had a lot of patrons on the patio, and we started seeing tents overturned, chairs overturned.
He also says more than 24 people were taken to hospitals, some even undergoing surgery. But here in the capital region, we got a really nice taste of summer with temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Most areas were also dry. Let's send it over to meteorologist Craig Gold to find out if it will stay that way. Right now, Schenectady police are investigating a hit and run where a car went off-road and hit a house on Santa Fe Street. This is a photo from our media partners at the Daily Gazette showing how much damage the car did. CBS 6's Steve Majiri spoke with the girl who was in the room that the car plowed into.
Those are the skid marks left by that SUV, and they turned into tread marks as it plowed through 2 yards and didn't stop until it took out a whole corner of that house.
Then it flipped and ended here.
Kimberly Deonery was in this room before a car hit it and caused the walls to cave in. Everyone in the neighborhood has been asking her what it felt like.
It had to be so scary.
She says she's glad she got near a door before the car came barreling through. She got out with only a few minor bruises.
Looking at the aftermath, it's just like crazy, considering like it's just right there.
She looks at it now, wondering what could have happened if she stayed where she was.
At most, I thought it was gonna hit like this tree or something.
The city has ordered the family to stay out of the house during their investigation. Kimberly will be staying with her mother. Her father got home soon after the crash. Since then, he's been keeping an eye on the house. But he still has one burning question.
The road is over there, it's not in here. How he end up in here?
He says he'll be staying at a hotel for the time being. The family is also getting help from the Red Cross. Police say the driver of the SUV hit the house around 10 p.m. Saturday night. Police haven't found out why the SUV went off-road and are still looking for the driver. They say they've questioned one person about the incident, but haven't made any arrests. If you have any information, call police. In Schenectady, Steve Majiri, CBS 6 News.
Happening tonight, the Masjid As-Salam is distributing donations to the victims of a fire in Albany last weekend that destroyed 8 houses. This is a look at the homes on Bradford Street today. The mosque has collected items and money for the people affected by this tragedy. Members of the community are also invited to attend the event at 276 Central Avenue in Albany. Donations are still being collected on Launch Good. So far, they've raised nearly $49,000. Court documents released in connection with the Schoharie limo crash show a possible angle the prosecution is pursuing. The DA has asked for a DNA sample from the defendant, Nauman Hussein, something his legal team is fighting. As CBS 6 anchor Liz Bishop first reported Friday night on CBS 6 News, DA Susan Mallory has asked the court for permission to get a cheek swab and saliva sample from Hussein to see if they match up with the DNA found on what they believe to be a removed or peeled off DOT sticker. The crumpled piece of paper was recovered from Hussein's personal car 2 weeks after the crash. The state has accused Hussein of having removed the out-of-service sticker placed on the limo by a state inspector a month before the accident, and then putting the car back on the road. The defense team counters that the state's experts blamed catastrophic brake failure for the crash and called the sticker a, quote, red herring, saying the state has not shown how removing that sticker led to the direct cause of death. The judge has yet to rule on the issue. When that decision is in and whenever there are new developments in this case, you will find them on our website. We have complete coverage dating back to the time of the crash at cbs6albany.com. New tonight, local college students got their hands dirty today to clean up Prospect Park in Troy as part of a worldwide crime prevention campaign. The volunteers are from the Save the Earth A to Z program. They helped clean and renovate the park's memorial in honor of Memorial Day. It's all part of a global movement called Reduce Crime Together, which is based on the theory that crime can be prevented through environmental and urban upkeep.
And we reduce the visible aspects of crime by removing graffiti, picking up trash, making it, look like it's very well maintained and well cared for. People are less likely to commit a crime. They're more likely to think twice before they do something negative.
Participating colleges today include RPI, UAlbany, Hudson Valley, St. Rose, and Russell Sage. Today in Albany, gardeners got to take home a little piece of Washington Park. The annual tulip dig and sale was held this morning at the Lake House. Bulbs from Tulip Fest were dug up from the park's beds and sold at $5 for a bag of 30.
The tulips from the Tulip Festival, they are so different and so special. They're not just a plain Jane variety tulip, so they can come here and get something really special from the park and have that little piece of the park with them at their house.
Proceeds of the tulip dig and sale support the Washington Park Conservancy, a nonprofit that helps the city preserve and maintain the park. High school teams from around the state competed today in the Ultimate Frisbee Championship Tournament. The games were held at Bethlehem Central High School all weekend. 30 boys and girls teams played with several from the capital region, including Albany, Hoosick Falls, and Saratoga Springs. Ultimate Frisbee combines multiple different sports, including soccer, basketball, and football.
Score like football in an end zone. You have to catch the Frisbee in the end zone to score a point. But possession changes like soccer or basketball, where if you turn it over, the other team can pick it up and start throwing it.
The high school tournament is held every year on Memorial Day weekend. Still to come, a group of former military and police work to rescue victims of human trafficking. We take an inside look at some of their investigative techniques. Plus, a 32-year-old tradition could be leaving the nation's capital. Why President Trump says it's there to stay, but organizers disagree.
CBS 6 News starts now.
A wanted fugitive arrested, how authorities found him and the list of crimes he's accused of. Plus, new details in the deadly Virginia Beach mass shooting. Hear from a survivor who says he can only guess why his life was spared. And a CBD shop comes to Schenectady as the Food and Drug Administration takes steps toward regulating the cannabis-based product. We take a look at its many uses. Good evening, I'm Emily DeFisciani. We are coming on the air tonight with breaking news. Colony police say they are on the scene of a fatal motorcycle crash on Troy-Schenectady Road. Right now, details are limited, but we will continue to follow this story throughout the night on air and online and bring you the latest updates as we get them. New at 11, an armed robbery is under investigation in Troy. Police say it happened earlier tonight at a store on 15th Street and Hutton Street just before 7. They say a man wearing a mask entered the store with what appeared to be a handgun, demanded money, and was given an undisclosed amount of cash. Police say the suspect then fled the store on foot. No one was hurt. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to contact Troy Police. A Ravenna man is in Albany County Jail tonight, arrested as a fugitive from justice. Authorities say this man, Michael Peroni, is wanted in the state of Arizona. Peroni was caught when the sheriff's office was doing a traffic detail in the village of Ravenna, and deputies pulled him over for failing to stop at a stop sign on Wendell Street. That's when they discovered a warrant for his arrest on charges of burglary, theft, and trafficking of stolen property. Peroni is now waiting to be extradited to Arizona. Turning to the weather now, some areas have seen showers and thunderstorms today. Let's check in with Craig Adams to see if that chance continues into this evening. Craig. Developing now, today we learned the gunman in the Virginia Beach mass shooting had resigned from his job with the city just hours before. 12 people were killed within minutes at the municipal building before police wounded and captured the shooter, who later died at the hospital. CBS News' Katherine Johnson has the latest from Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach officials say Dwayne Craddock quit his engineering job with the city just hours before the massacre.
He was not terminated, and he was not in the process of being terminated.
Craddock gave 2 weeks' notice in a resignation letter he submitted Friday morning. Authorities are looking for that letter for more clues about the nation's deadliest mass shooting so far this year.
One of the pieces of the investigation will include the motive for this horrific act.
As the timeline emerges, authorities say police arrived here at the municipal building just 2 minutes after the first 911 call.
They were returning fire, and at one point, the suspect was firing through the door and through the wall at the officers. He was a distance from them. He was in another office. They realized the need to enter that office so that he would not then escape and perpetrate more violence.
Ned Carlstrom, a city worker who survived the attack, said he initially thought it was a drill.
The only reason I can think that he did not shoot me or didn't aim at me is because he and I used to walk in from the parking lot together in the morning. We would make small talk when we were coming in the morning.
Carlstrom says he locked eyes and crossed paths with the gunman a few times before he realized the tragedy when he saw officers drag away the body of a victim. Virginia Beach is spending Sunday honoring the 12 people killed and 4 who remain in the hospital. Most of them also worked for the city. Katherine Johnson, CBS News, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
City Manager Dave Hansen says the assailant was an employee in, quote, good standing in his department. Hansen described his performance as satisfactory. Dozens of Capital Region residents spent today in New York City to witness the powerful new Auschwitz exhibit at the Museum of Jewish Heritage. The exhibit is titled Auschwitz, Not Long Ago, Not Far Away. It features hundreds of original objects and photos from the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum in Poland and is described as an unparalleled opportunity to confront the singular face of human evil. We caught up with some of the people who went on the trip as they returned this evening.
It was a very, very meaningful trip. And I think anybody who went on the trip, I think, was impressed by how the Nazis had come to power, the role of hate, the role of anti-Semitism, and the real hellhole that was Auschwitz, and how some Jews managed to survive and act heroically.
In our area right now, the Capital District Jewish Holocaust Memorial Board is seeking approval from the Niskayuna Town Board for a special use permit to build a Holocaust memorial along Route 7 on land that would be donated by the Catholic Diocese. Right now, the Food and Drug Administration is taking steps towards regulating CBD. It's a part of the cannabis industry that's becoming more and more popular. CBS 6's Leanne DeRosa shows us a brand new store in Schenectady devoted to CBD.
Donald Andrews owns his own vape shop in Scotia, but recently saw a shift in demand.
And had a lot of people coming in asking about CBD products and where to find CBD products.
So he opened Upstate CBD, a new shop in Schenectady.
We have a little bit of everything. We have CBD isolates, we have tinctures, we have topicals, we have hemp buds.
You can use it on your skin, eat it, dissolve it under your tongue, or smoke it. They even have products for your pets. But what exactly is CBD? It's cannabidiol, a compound found in the cannabis flower.
Cannabis plant has two species. It has the marijuana plant, which is high in THC, and then you have the industrial hemp plant, which is high in CBD.
He says CBD has a lot of therapeutic benefits to it.
Anxiety, inflammation is a huge thing. Demotes the growth of cancer cells.
CBD is considered legal and safe. It doesn't give you the euphoric psychoactive feeling that marijuana does, but it's not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. This past Friday, the FDA held a hearing to gather more information about the compound. Andrews thinks it should be regulated.
It would make it a lot easier for consumers, with labeling is one, because there's a lot of CBD companies out there who don't label their product properly. They don't put the milligram dosages on there correctly. They don't put all the ingredients on there correctly.
Andrews says it's a step in the right direction for the growing CBD industry. For now, his message to consumers:
do your research and be careful, where you get your CBD from. You want to make sure you're getting a quality, pure product.
In Schenectady, Leanne DeRosa, CBS 6 News.
The Upstate CBD shop on Union Avenue in Schenectady officially opened yesterday, but they are planning a ribbon cutting for June 20th. New at 11, the numbers are in for how much money was raised at the Capital Region Heart Walk and Run today, and the total is more than $470,000 in donations. Thousands joined in to fight heart disease and stroke at the heartwarming event in Albany. Heart disease is the #1 killer of all Americans, and stroke is number 5. Many of these people participating are survivors. Our own Melissa Lee co-emceed the event and spoke with the mother of a 2-year-old who was born with a congenital heart defect and had open heart surgery at just 1 year old.
To lean on these people, it was a real sense of community for us, and it was a nice outlet to be surrounded by people who understood what you were going through. And I think that is so helpful in a situation like ours.
Donations to the Heart Walk and Run will be accepted through June 30th. You can contribute at capitalregionheartwalk.org. The city of Schenectady is waving rainbow flags to celebrate Pride Month. Today was the annual Pride Festival on J Street. The colors of the rainbow were everywhere, from flags to clothing and accessories, and even on Proctor's marquee. The festival had performances, a drag show, and a queer liberation march down State Street to recognize the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City. Organizers say the festival teaches everyone about the importance of acceptance.
Instead of being a certain classification of what somebody is or what their gender is or isn't, we all got to start realizing that we're all humans. We all have different ideas, things, beliefs in people that we love, people that we don't love.
They also unveiled a new art installation in Gateway Plaza across from SUNY Schenectady. It features rainbow arches that mark milestones in the LGBTQ rights movement, from Stonewall to marriage equality to GENDA, the Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act. New developments tonight in the case of a mother missing for more than a week. The 2 suspects under arrest tonight and the charges they're now facing. Plus, Boeing facing a new problem as they work to get their 737 MAX planes back in the air. The faulty part that could damage the plane during a flight. New at 11, we have an update to a stolen alligator investigation we reported last week. The owner of Kobe the Gator posted on Facebook that he is now home safe. She's thanking everyone who put the word out to find him, but says as of now, she's not at liberty to discuss the details of his return. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says someone stole the 6-foot-long reptile from a residence in New Lebanon last weekend. They say the owner is both licensed and permitted to have Kobe. The desperate search for a Connecticut mother of 5 is now in its 9th day. Tonight, there are 2 arrests in the case. Jennifer Doulos' estranged husband and his girlfriend. Fotis Doulos and Michelle Triconis are charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. 50-year-old Jennifer Doulos went missing more than a week ago after dropping her kids off at school. Doulos and her husband have been in a contentious divorce and child custody case for the past 2 years. Fotis and Triconis are both scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow. New at 11, another problem for Boeing. The company says some of its 737 planes, including many of its grounded 737 MAX aircrafts, could have faulty parts on their wings, causing them to crack or fail prematurely. The FAA said such a failure would not bring a plane down, but it could damage one while in flight. This is the latest issue the company faces as it tries to get the 737 MAX planes back in the air after they were grounded following 2 deadly crashes. Mexico is preparing to start talks in Washington over President Trump's tariff threat. The Mexican economy minister plans to meet with U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross on Monday. This is an effort to diffuse the rising trade tensions. President Trump responded to this news in a tweet today, saying, in part, they've been talking for 25 years, and now we want action. He went on to say the border crisis could be solved in 1 day. He also reiterated his threat that U.S. companies and jobs will leave Mexico if his demand for the country to step up immigration enforcement isn't met. Caught on camera, a cruise ship running into a riverboat today at San Basilio Terminal in Venice. Video on social media shows people running down the dock as the boat appears to try to stop, but instead hits a riverboat and pushes it a few feet. Local officials say it was an accident and that 5 women aboard the riverboat were injured.
Tonight, CBS 6 and NYSCOBA are fundraising for a program that benefits disabled veterans right here in the Capital Region. The Team Albany Adaptive Sports Program at the Stratton VA Medical Center uses adaptive equipment, allowing disabled veterans to get out and do fun activities like skiing, golf, bowling, tennis, and much more. The program benefits veterans who are suffering from amputation, visual impairments, spinal cord injuries, and neurological problems from combat. And with us today is Private First Class Paul Myasek, who can share firsthand what the program is all about. Paul, we saw you last night. You were featured in a segment, and I know that you are heavily involved in the program. Yes. First, I want to learn a little bit about you. Tell me about your time in the service.
Well, I was stationed over in Germany, Bravo Company 66 Infantry, and we were told that we were going to be going to the Iraq War when it broke out. And we loaded our vehicles on a German train. I was on guard duty. I came too close to the overhead power cables, and I had an injury where I had 15,000 volts of electricity go through my skull, down my spine and out my legs. Woke up from a coma 6 weeks later at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. And I started getting some movement and feeling back. And they wanted to get me started with rehab, so I went to the Buffalo VA for like 9 months. Then they sent me to the Albany VA for a year and a month about. And I got out in 1992, December 1992, and was approached by Michelle Ferrillo about the adaptive sports group and going to Colorado to do some skiing. And I wasn't too sure about that, but I gave it a go and opened up a whole new world of everything. I mean, I was seeing people skiing and getting involved in different, events they had there. And it just made me wake up, and it's like, wow, look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just got deeply involved in many sports. And
yeah, tell me about the sports that you've been able to do because of this program.
Okay, I've done downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, rock climbing, javelin, discus, archery, air rifles, sled hockey, kayaking, bowling, wheelchair fencing, hand cycling, Air rifle, a lot of things.
I am just so amazed by you, and we thank you so much for your service, and we thank you so much for being here to highlight this important program. We want to let everyone know, all of our viewers know, that tonight we will be having a fundraiser. Our phone lines will be open tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. to raise money for Team Albany. The program is 100% funded by donations, so we need your help, and we thank you in advance for your generosity.
Tragedy struck this past Saturday when a stretched Ford Excursion limousine crashed near Schoharie, killing all 17 of its passengers inside, the driver and 2 pedestrians. The incident is one of the deadliest in recent transportation history and leaves us with countless unanswered questions. Now, here to help examine this issue is managing partner Paul Harding from the law firm of Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Paul, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So many new developments with this story. Early reports seem to indicate that there were issues with both the driver and the stretch limousine, as well as the vehicle itself. What can you tell us about the driver and the vehicle?
Yeah, the feeling around the community is like nothing I've seen since 9/11. There's this somber feeling, everybody just looking for answers, and the answers keep getting a little bit worse. I mean, here they determined early on the driver may not have had the right CDL, right license. We've got a vehicle that should have been pulled out of service. Now, there's been some discrepancy back and forth, but every time we hear something about this, people are just trying to figure out why.
Right. Now, what are the safety requirements for vehicles such as limousines, and how do you see this tragedy affecting the law?
Well, it's coming to light right now that the requirements for limousines are a lot less than the everyday car we see on the road. There's no airbags. The seat belts are there, difficult to find, and no requirement to wear one. And I think what we're going to see legislatively is it's going to change the way that limo companies operate in the state of New York from a safety perspective as well as regulatory.
Now, obviously still very early in the investigation, but many of the locals where this crash happened seem to believe that there was a problem on the road. Do you see any sort of legal recourse in this regard?
I think there'll absolutely be a claim that's going to take a look, is that a dangerous intersection? You know, I took a look at it from kind of Google Earth, and it's hard to get a feel for that, but just what people have been saying, vehicles can't stop. They end up going through the road to that rest stop. And is there proper signage? Are they going too fast as they're approaching that stop sign? That is absolutely going to be a claim.
All right, one last question.
Sure.
What can our viewers do to protect themselves?
Well, there are ways. You can go online, National Transportation. We'll talk about different companies and how safe their vehicles are, but who does that, right? The reality of it is there's got to be a legislative push. When you get that limousine, you got to know there are other people watching every part of it, and it's safe. That, I think, is the answer. Let's get down to Albany and let's get some legislation changed.
All right, Paul, thank you. Of course, just a terrible situation. We're going to continue to bring you the very latest on the Schoharie limo crash on air and online. Be sure to head on over to CBS6Albany.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for the very latest updates.